Welcome back to the Search for 100, the series where we find the best and worst of gaming and everything in between. Since the last episode was about Mario, the platforming mascot we all know, it seems more than appropriate to look at his greatest rival of all time, Sonic. Today on the Search for 100, we take a look at Sonic the Hedgehog 1, not the 2006 game. If you want a basic story for a platformer, this game does not disappoint. Before time travel, aliens, and werehogs, this was the game that started everything. Dr. Ivo Robotnik, or Dr. Eggman? Apparently the Robotnik name was just a North American thing, and everyone calls him Eggman now anyway, so I'll just call him Eggman. Anyways, on South Island, all of Sonic's animal friends are going missing thanks to Dr. Eggman capturing them and turning them into badniks. Sonic then sets out to save the animals and defeat Eggman Sunny Side Up style. A simple story, but it works and gives enough incentive to drive you forward. The classic Sonic games aren't very story-driven, and that's a good thing in my opinion. Even the recent Sonic Mania didn't have much story to follow if you didn't go into Forces and Mania adventures. If you want story, most of the modern games have you covered regardless of characters, locations, and narrative elements. With the premise set, the adventure can begin. Each area is called a zone, with each zone comprised of 3 levels called acts. You'll have to platform through each act until you reach the end of Act 3 where you're face-off against the Doctor himself. This is all fine and good, but I'm forgetting something, aren't I? Of course, I couldn't talk about Sonic the Hedgehog without mentioning the speed aspect of the game. The name of the game is to get through each level as fast as possible. In Sonic 1, a good part of this is done by using the terrain to your advantage. When you're passing through a loop or running down a slope, you can press down and Sonic will spin into the shape of a ball. You'll go faster than previously, and you can even use this to break walls. When looking at this game and comparing it to the others in the Genesis trilogy, there's one major difference. There's no spin dash, since it wasn't introduced until Sonic 2. It feels a bit odd playing a Sonic game without the spin dash, but it's completely easy to adjust to in my opinion. You can still go fast, and most of the time you can keep a good pace. When it comes to enemies, you have the badniks, which make up Eggman's army. Since there's a variety of them with different designs and mechanics, sometimes you can jump on them to defeat them, and sometimes you'll have to spin into them. Regardless on what you have to do, the flow keeps going, and it feels nice to be able to defeat enemies while keeping the speed up. Another thing the classic Sonic games are all about is exploration. If you look around the level you're in for a bit, you may be able to find some rings or a power-up. The idea of this is great and rewards you for being curious, but there's a bigger part of exploration being the multiple routes you can take. You can revisit a level multiple times and find new ways to get through it, and each path can offer a different experience. Not only does this reward you for improving and exploring, but lets you go faster as a result. It's a great concept that really works. The lower paths are slower and a bit harder, but you can still blaze through them if you've memorized that path. Exploring and memorizing each level is something the game encourages you to do, and I think it does it very well. It may be frustrating if you're new to Sonic games and can only take the lower paths, but it really helps you in the long run. Some levels don't have extra paths to a great extent, but you can still find hidden rooms with bonus rings and items in them. One last thing I should mention about the gameplay is Sonic underwater. Sonic can't swim. It's his greatest fear, and for good reason. When you get to the infamous Labyrinth Zone, you'll probably die a lot, and I mean a lot. Why? Because Sonic obviously can't breathe underwater either. So what's the solution? Well, you'll find air sockets spread throughout the water sections of each act that has you going for a swim. If you take too long to find one, a counter will start to tick down with threatening music alongside it. Even when you get to an air socket, however, you better hope a large bubble comes out. The smaller bubbles you see don't replace your air, only the large bubbles do. They only come every couple of seconds, and if one doesn't come in time, you're gone. Well, at least in this game no one's trying to steal your precious air. Ah, the Genesis. A great console that's capable of having great graphics. I don't even think I need to mention Sonic as an example to prove this. The game looks amazing with colors that stick out on the entire screen, and great amounts of detail was put into everything. In my opinion, Sonic 2 and 3 look better, but this game still looks really great. Also, considering those games came after one and they had more experience after this game, it's quite alright. Each area uses a mix of brighter and darker colors, and they contrast each other well. Every object and enemy sticks out in the environment well, and you won't be squinting to figure out what you're looking at. One thing I like is how each area has its own unique feel and look to it. For example, Green Hill Zone is a beautiful warm paradise, while Marble Zone is an ancient mysterious temple-like land. That's about all I have to say when it comes to presentation. I think the level themes are pretty creative, and every level is pleasing to look at. Sonic 1 was a stepping stone for Sega, and opened the door for more level themes and staples in future games. The game has some content other than the main game, but it's not that much in my opinion. If you collect 50 rings and get to the goal without losing them, a giant gold ring will appear at the end of the level. Jump into it and you'll be taken into a special stage. In this special stage lies a Chaos Emerald. Make it through the stage and touch it, and you'll get the emerald. I say there's not many extras in this game because that's about it, and there's not the usual 7 Chaos Emeralds, there's only 6 here. I think the special stages are fun, and they're my favorite in the series, but getting the emeralds aren't really worth it in my opinion because it only gives you a slightly different ending. The amount of extra content is lacking, but I still think it's something. Some Sonic games can be a bit repetitive or long when it comes to collectibles, so not having to take on a huge task is a bit nice. With all that being said, let's make a final conclusion. Sonic the Hedgehog is a classic game and character that a lot of people know and love, and for good reason. It all started off here, and was a great first game in the series, and accomplished the goal of having fast, fluid gameplay. The game has a story that's easy to get into, great visual presentation, and gameplay concepts that were creative and all done well to make this game a fun experience. It may not be the easiest game to get into if you're new to the series, but get past that small learning curve and you'll be fine. On to the score. If you don't know how my scoring system works, let me explain. The rating is out of 10 and uses 2 colors as part of the rating system. If the game is a green number, I think it's a good game I enjoyed or is at least decent. If I give the game a red number, it means I enjoy the game ironically. With that explained, let's see how this game stacks up. Sonic the Hedgehog is a really enjoyable experience and is a quality game. There are some minor flaws, but they're mainly nitpicks like small glitches and only a bit of extra content. With everything I previously mentioned, I give this game a green 9 out of 10. This game is legendary, with different aspects which are all fun and work together to make the game even better.